let's talk about the NFL Combine, because
Okay.
it's funny. Like, people I talk to are like, nobody really gives a shit about the Combine. Like, once the guys leave the team, like, you don't really care. But for Indiana football and for a lot of the fan base that is like you said, we're defending national champions. Like, this team means a lot to us, and so we still care about how these guys are going to go and like perform and be perceived, and like we know how good of players they are, and so to watch our guys, this group of 9, go to the NFL Combine and show out the way they did was unbelievably fun. So just Combine follow-up, Brad, off the top of your head, before I kind of ask you about specific guys, what jumped out to you about last week as a Combine enthusiast? And because me and you, to fill the people in a little bit, me and you sat there for 2 hours on Saturday and just like talked through the running backs and the receivers going through drills, and it's like, Brad's the master of the eye test for a reason. Like, I do joke and prod and kid, but like the guy, like I do sit there and like listen to the guy talk ball. So what stood out to you last week?
Without going through individual, I like the show out from the Hoosiers. A lot of cheers when the guys were doing their thing. Like, you watch Pons and Moore and Coogan do their drills, and they're getting cheers and stuff like that, which is really cool to see. And even some Notre Dame guys were getting some cheers, and some Ohio Staters as well. And it was a cool showing from the Hoosier faithful, though, and awesome to see. I wasn't a big fan of the booing Carson Beck. I feel like we're a little above that. We won that game. Like, didn't really make sense. They're kind of clowning it on the trash, but actually, Spin Zone made Carson Beck look really good because he took it in stride, was kind of chuckling at it, to be honest. He's like, this is kind of hilarious. And, and he balled out. Like, Carson Beck may have solidified himself as QB3 in this draft class after his combine. So good for him. Yeah, big fan of Carson Beck for that, to be honest, and wish him nothing but the best. I thought that was really cool. That was a cool moment.
I think there's two ways to look at the booing, because I'm with you. On a surface level, it's like, come on, guys, like we're better than that. Like, you don't need to go there and boo the guy we already beat. Like, the victory is beating the guy and showing him the trophy, and not like showing him the trophy, but it wasn't all IU fans booing. I was Decepticon saying in the chat. That's funny. But at the same time, it's like, on the flip side of it, what is the point of the NFL Combine? The NFL Combine is a tryout for the NFL.
The job interview.
And what is an NFL quarterback going to do? He's going to stand in NFL stadiums and he's going to throw footballs. And sometimes the fans at that stadium might be booing him. So the fact, I get it. Like, it's his on-field workout, and there's like there's certain expectations when you're at the Combine that you're not going to face that sort of outward pressure when you're standing in front of 30 NFL coaches, right? It's a little bit different. At the same time, the amount of adults coming out that like couldn't handle the fact that it was happening was mind-boggling. Like,
I think there was an overreaction to it. I didn't like it personally. I didn't tweet about it. I didn't care enough to tweet about it.
I didn't. It didn't really bother me that much.
I didn't like it, but funny thing is, Spin Zone, like, I actually think like we helped Carson Beck in a way. Like, I think
100%. I had the same takeaway as you, Brad. Is I'm listening to him get booed, and it kind of funny. Like, he was like almost like, what's going on, and like trying to like not overthrow the receivers, and like then once he kind of realized like what was happening, he almost like locked in, and it made him compete harder. And I'm completely with you. Like, if I was an NFL evaluator watching that, and he's being put in a unique circumstance because it's not happening to those other guys. It's really just him and Pavia.
Yeah, he can be QB2 behind and learn behind one of my franchise guys. Like, this isn't a guy we're gonna draft and he's gonna be like my starter. Like, if you tell me Carson Beck can't be like a Chad Henne and a Gardner Minshew in this league, I think you're crazy. I think he can totally do that job and be serviceable when called upon and do the right things and be an NFL quarterback. Maybe not a franchise guy like a lot of people thought of him would be, but like, bro, all right, there are 96 quarterback jobs in the NFL total. A lot of those guys coming back. A lot of those guys been in the league for a long time. Only so many spots to be filled, and I think Carson Beck's good enough to take someone's job. Is basically my point here, and yeah, that's just the facts. And he's gonna set himself well, and hopefully have a great career. I'm rooting for him, honestly.
I like it. Let's talk about our guys though, Brad. Aiden Fisher was the first to the podium.
By the way, I have my new updated draft round grades specifically for each guy.
So how do you want me to? I guess it's like, do you have takes for all of, like? I guess we
Like
probably
how they
should talk about
perform.
that.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So like,
Yeah,
I
like
don't know how much you watch the linebackers.
Fisher didn't run. I don't think he did any of the. He did the
No, he did
drills.
drills.
I think he was drills only. I have to go back and check the stats because they don't cover everything when they cover it. I think he just did the drills. He looked good. I think my biggest takeaway was like, I mean, given the film, given the instincts, like this guy is clearly like moves like an NFL player, and given the instincts and the fact that he's going to be able to play fast, play faster than whoever has better measurables than him, I think works to his advantage, and someone's going to recognize that. I gave him a round 3 grade. So
to me,
which is not what I expected going into it, because he's not going to wow you with a 40 time or a vert or anything like that. He's definitely athletic enough to play in the league. He's 6'2", 230. Like, he's got the size. He's not undersized, I'll tell you that. But he's got the mind to be able to play fast when he's on the field, got the pads on. I think that's something the team's going to recognize that and take him in the 3rd round.
We got an awesome story from Fish too, where he said that when they got back to Bloomington briefly, him, Coogan, Nowakowski, and Fernando watched the national championship as fans, like not as like a critique and not as like a film study type deal, but just like on the couch, like, holy crap, like how'd we do that type of deal, which I thought was really funny. I was like, he really is one of us.
Oh yeah.
We also got an awesome story from Lou Moore, where he was talking about how he had a penalty in the UCLA game, and Sig, like, he was sitting in Sig's office and Sig was chewing him out but never looked away from the film that he was watching. And then he got up to leave and he stopped him and he just like let him know he was loved. It's a really cool Kurt Signetti story. What stood out to you about Lou Moore's week?
Lou Moore, another guy that I think he was drills only. Looked good. He did slip on a drill, I will say that, which is not great. You want to see guys that are just comfortable out there doing any sort of movement and not get nervous and do things. But it's not like a slip's going to be like, oh yeah, this guy can't play in the NFL. Like, I think that's the difference between him and like maybe sliding up. I think he solidified himself. I think given the season he had, I mean, look at the resume. This guy was an All-American this year, All Big Ten, played a lot of football, comes in with age, which I think works in his favor, especially when you look at the later rounds, right, in terms of who's going to take a chance on him. I gave him a 5th round grade. That's where I'm projecting him going. I think he had a fantastic day, and considering I think he's going to get a job somewhere. And I think that's a guy that can step in and play right away, whether that's special teams or as maybe you get a 5th round gem and he can be a little, hold it down in the free safety spot for you. I think he's a lot of like good game instincts. His film is really going to jump out to people, and it's going to bode well for him. And I'm sure all these guys crushed the interviews, so I'm not really going to go over like how the interviews. I think you watch something like that happen in Indiana, like overarching, like I think NFL guys want a piece of that. They want guys that can come in, know how to work. Like, that's not even a question for these guys. Like, they just took Indiana to a natty. Like, you don't think these guys worked? like 7 blue chips on the roster, and they won the natty 16-0. First ever team to do that in the forward pass era. Like, you always bring up that Yale team. The forward pass came around like 6 years after that Yale team. Like people don't, like, you can't even compare that. It's a different sport. Like, that's why I made the blue blood rankings too with that same concept. Anyways, we'll get into that later. But
we'll get into it, Brad. Don't worry.
But yeah, Lou Moore, I got him as a 5th round grade, which would make him, I don't know. We'll go over the totals in terms of how many draft picks I think this team has, because I think it's going to be more than 9.
I like it. Me and you talked through Roman Hemby going through the drills. He didn't run the 40, but he did the drills. What was your takeaway from Hemby's combine?
Hemby looked really good. He looked about what you expected. He looked big too out there. He's listed at 6 foot 210. Looked the part. Moved really well. No slips. Did all the drills basically perfect. Right, and I've mentioned this before, like his ability as a potential kick returner in the league, where that's becoming very high value. And despite, running backs low value, and then just like kick returner, like bumps him up again because he has that ability, as opposed to like a Kalen Black. I don't think Kalen Black has too much kick return ability. I think it's more of a Roman Hemby type role, as you saw like how he used them. He was the kick returner all year, Roman Hemby was. And I was shocked to see that too, because it was like, clearly he's got something special. He's got crazy vision, and I don't think he got put in that role without it. A lot of these guys, the film, like you said, like it's just making sure these guys can move at an NFL label. That's why they have these guys go back and like this guy goes and then this guy goes and this. And that's how they do it. It's like, okay, who's not fitting in really here? And none of these IU guys had that. They all fit in, right? Obviously, you watch Arvell Reese and Sonny Styles move around. You're like, hey, that's a first round pick. Okay. But then everything else is kind of like a wash in between that. And it really comes down to like your film, how you do in interviews, things like that. That's going to separate guys from like pick 64, basically to 277, like, or whatever the number is, right? And yeah, I think
that's a really good point, because I think a lot of what people were, I guess, the holdups with this Indiana team were like, how would they even look athletically next to a lot of these top level perceived NFL guys? And not only did they not look out of place, but somebody like D'Angelo Pons is setting combine records and is the 4th highest vert for a cornerback ever.
Yeah. I mean, let's keep it at Roman Hemby real quick, but it's like they don't win the Natty if they're not NFL level players. Like they're just not. That was the issue between year 1 and year 2. They just didn't have enough. Like we pumped out 5 NFL players from that team, which is a very high number. 3 of those guys were undrafted guys and are probably on the precipice of being on a practice squad or being like they're fighting for their job again. Those 3 guys, like Keyshawn Williams, Miles Price, Zach Horton, they're fighting for their jobs again because they got this new wave of rookies coming in. Right. So they're fighting for their jobs again. These rookies are trying to take their jobs, which they earned. Right. And then obviously the CJ West and Rourke, they use draft capital on them. They're the steadier there. Right. They're more job security's a little better. Right. Because if you use draft capital on some guy, you want to give him the benefit of the doubt because you spent so much on it. But yeah, my point is this team, like last year's team had 2 draft picks. This year's team's probably going to have like 12. So they don't win the Natty. They don't do that. Roman Hemby out of John Carroll High School in Edgewood, Maryland. I got him in a 5th round grade. Could be higher though. That's a guy that I could be wrong where I had him at 4 and I moved it back to 5 because it's like running backs kind of it gets weird.
700 plus carries in his career, 1 fumble.
2-time All Big Ten player. 2-time. 1 on Maryland, 1 on Indiana.
I jumped to Pons because I thought that's kind of where you were going, but I want to hold off on Pons a little bit because there was a couple things with him. I want to go to Nowakowski, who we talked about a little bit, but he had a really funny story about Cignetti and Alberto Mendoza during the Illinois game where they kept calling read option and Burt kept pulling it, and they called Alberto over to the sideline, and Alberto was like super confused, like, why the hell am I being called over to the sideline in the middle of the play? And Cignetti was like, we're not paying you to run the ball, hand it off. Sent him back to the huddle and then turned around to Nowakowski and gave him like a wry smile.
That's hilarious. That was in the Natty, right? That's hilarious. That's awesome.
No, that was against Illinois.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, that's when Alberto was in against Illinois.
I hear you. Yeah, Riley ran a 4.66, which was huge for him. Huge for him. That basically solidified himself as that's an NFL fullback. Like I've been saying it before the year started that he's a fullback, and he surprised me in his pass catching ability. Like if you're a fullback and you're able to like become tight end 1 on the national championship winning team, like you're an NFL guy. So it's really like who's going to be the team. I give him a 6th round grade because it's like that's where usually the first fullback off the board is taken, if there is any. And it just comes down to who is willing to spend draft capital on their next fullback, the next, Kyle Juszczyk might be a stretch for a comp, but He has the skills, and I think Kyle Juszczyk moves a little differently. I think talk about hips in the NFL a lot. Noah Cassidy's got tight hips. He does. That can work against you, but clearly a guy that can really block, and I think everyone at the combine knew that. And to kind of see him move around, catch the ball, strong hands, didn't drop anything in the gauntlet, like kind of solidified himself as an NFL player. Gave him a 6th-round grade. I think that kid's getting drafted, which is awesome. Former walk-on at Wisconsin, from Marquette Academy in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Very cool.
Let's go to Surratt next, another guy who didn't test but did all of the wide receiver drills.
Looked very fluid, got some ducks thrown his way, which is pretty unfortunate. Wasn't able to see. Wasn't able, like in some, like they did the back shoulder drill and he got, like the guy sailed it on him. It's like that's the best back shoulder receiver in the stadium right now.
Can we have an? I was gonna say, like, he is who people think Carnell Tate is. Yeah. I'm sorry, I get it.
Yeah, he surprised people with how big he was and how fluid he moves. I think he really showed out. I'm glad that he saved his 40 time for the pro day. I think he's gonna run a little faster than I thought. But he's just so silky smooth and just so fluid, just like a true, like, just natural athlete, really, like, for a big body, like, really felt, like, acclimated to being a big – he's not like this clunky runner. Like, he's very fluid. That's why people were surprised how big he was because he's legit 6'3", like, 210, and he's out here running.
He's taller than Carnell Tate.
Yeah, he's a big dude, and – he was just so fluid out there and looked really good. Gave him a round 2 grade. Now, if he goes to pro day and runs a 4.5, we might be talking around 1. But he goes like he runs 4.4 at the combine.
Slant the track.
Yeah, he's going round 1. But I gave him round 2. I think you just can't. You watched Indiana play last year, like it was just Fernandez. This is the Mendoza Cooper Surratt show. Like it just was. Like that's what it. A little bit of Becker toward the end there, but. All year it's just Coop, Surratt, Mendoza, like very clear, like we're better than you. We're gonna air it out, and we're gonna run it down your throat as well. Like, and we're gonna go 16-0. Like that is 2-time All Big Ten player. Like he's going round 2. There's no doubt. From St. Francis Academy, hometown, Stafford, Virginia. Elijah Surratt, you are an NFL player. How about that? Well, we'll make it official once the draft happens in late April, but. Excited for these guys, man. These dreams coming true. That's why I'm dropping the high schools and hometowns for these guys. Long time coming.
Well, to steal your moniker a little bit and be a little master of the eye testy is like sometimes you just have to watch these guys play football. And what's the best indicator of if you're going to be successful at the next level is were you already successful and were you already productive? And a lot of it is not, are you the best athlete, but are you athletic enough? And the NFL Combine proved that all of these Indiana guys are athletic enough to compete at the next level. And that is when you then take what you see on film and you see the athletic numbers justify that play speed's accurate. And then it's like, okay, yeah, those guys are going to produce. Kind of sometimes it's really that simple. Let's go from a receiver that might run. What you said, a 4.4. There's no way he's going to run 4.4. That'd be insane. But to a receiver that actually ran 4.4. Coop, go. When Coop ran 4.47, I texted you in all caps like, "Let's fucking go!" Like, and I tweeted it too. I was like, "He's stamped, certified. He's that guy." Guy ran 0.4 of a second faster on his second 40. Talk about Coop, Brett.
An official 4.42.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah, super impressive. Opted out once he ran that 40. Opted out of his job was done. Let's just say that he's going round 1. That's all they needed to see. Like he's been the tape darling this whole through all the pundits, and I'm sure it's the same way in circles. He's been like you watch his ability to get yak, shed guys, make people miss, one hand acrobatic catches. Like he's got it all, man. He is. It doesn't get as complete of a receiver as Coop. And Surratt's almost the same way, except he's just a little slower, so he's going round 2. That's what's so awesome about these guys and the wide receiver development that we're seeing. Already pumped out 2 receivers in the NFL, no draft picks. 2 receivers got jobs from last year's team. We got 2 receivers going to get drafted first 2 rounds. And then you got EJ and Johnny Brady with guys that are probably going to make 53 mans. And then you got Becker and Marsh in waiting. Chaz Preston too. All of a sudden, Indiana might have like double-digit wide receiver guys in the NFL before we even blink. That's really crazy to me. That's some Ohio State shit right there. That ass. Like that's crazy. Like maybe not to the extreme where like all these guys are going round one, but like pumping receivers to the NFL at this rate is crazy. And they're already on it in year 2 before we can even blink. That was something that really stood out to me. I gave him a round 1 grade. One-time All-American, one-time All-Big Ten player, Omar Cooper, a guy that we were screaming from the mountaintops was underrated all year, all offseason last year. So much disrespect going his way where people were talking Mekhi Lemon and Lane and Surratt and Smith and Tate, like who's the best duo. I even saw some Moore and Benson. Like, I'm just like, what are we talking about here? Indiana playoff team brings back their top 2 receivers. Like, what are we looking at here, guys? Like, the only argument I can hear you out on is Smith and Tate. Like, you just can't. Lemon and Lane are great, big fans. They're not Surratt and Coop. Like, the different level. That's why they won the Natty, right? Like, different specimens. So super pumped for Omar Cooper out of Lawrence North High School in Indianapolis, Indiana. How about that? Love that. Hometown guy. Man, it almost makes you think if you go to Lawrence North and you're a blue chip receiver from Lawrence North, you go to Indiana, you can go round 1. How about that? Hope someone's listening.
How about it? Pat Coogan, Brad, who obviously crushed the center drills and looked great getting out on the wings and pulling and all that, because like that's just a super athletic big man who doesn't get enough credit for how athletic he is. I thought he looked great. What did you think about Coogan?
I thought he looked. I'm not an O-line expert. It's probably one of my gaps just because I didn't play it, right? I wasn't involved with O-linemen. I was a right guard drills. I was just outside working with the quarterbacks. Like I didn't get involved with any of that. No one ever handed me the ball. Like that didn't, maybe on an end around in JV, maybe like that did happen. I got a first down. It's pretty sick. And then
I've pulled before, not in like any type of like really competitive football, but like that's just not easy to do. Like it's not as easy to move as these big guys make it. And like the fact that Coogan moves as well as he does and like as athletic as he is for as big as he is unbelievably impressive.
He was moving really fast. I don't think he ran, but he was moving really fast in the drills. Great acceleration, no slips. Just looked fluid throughout. 6'5", 311. I don't know what he measured in at, but that's what he's listed on the roster. Looked every bit of it, and then looked just super long and fluid in his running. Looked fantastic. I gave him a round 4 grade, mostly just because he's a center. Like people don't take true centers that early. So would love to see him go early in round 4, straight out of Marist in Palos Heights, Illinois. I'm staring at it right now. And the Bears center just retired today. So, I mean, it could be a perfect situation for the Chicago kid. So I'm screaming from the mountaintops, take Coogan. I think Bears need to fill out some other gaps on the D-line first. And then you got a little sleeper, I think day 1 starter type guy in Pat Coogan waiting for you day 3 early. Go get him, type deal. So, yeah, I think he just made himself a good amount of money. And a guy that was overlooked at Notre Dame and was allowed to walk, and he's just probably going to get drafted higher than that Notre Dame center. I don't know who it is, but he's going to get drafted higher than them, and that's pretty cool.
It does make me all the whole thing about it makes me happy. I just love that Pat Coogan is an Indiana Hoosier forever. Let's talk about probably the biggest winner of the combine from the Indiana Hoosiers. It's D'Angelo Pons, Brad. 43.5-inch vert, the 4th best for a cornerback ever at the combine. He was the until the Stowers jump for the tight ends, he was the highest vert. He had an incredible combine, and to watch him put to rest all of the concerns about the size concerns people had about him. Like it was just, he's just a really fun guy to root for. And it's just to watch him keep proving the doubters wrong is really, really, it's inspiring. It's fun. It fires me up. Like What do you think of D'Lo's combine, Brad?
He looked like the best athlete out of all the corners. The only knock on him is that he came in at 5'8" and some change. And I think that should tell you a little bit more of how much of a dog he is. The fact that he's able to, compete at the highest level. This guy is a 2-time All-American, 2-time All-Big Ten, and a freshman All-American. And a true junior, the only true junior in this Indiana class as well. The only 3-and-done guy coming out from these Hoosiers. I gave him a round 1 grade. I think people are going to be like, oh, at the end of round, like someone said something funny where it's like, everyone's going to want to get pawns and sneakily fall into the round 2 and we get them early. But someone's going to trade up at pick 32 and go get him. Like that type of shit. Dude, this guy might go 15. He might be the first. He should be the first cornerback taken. He won't. There's a lot of hype around the LSU kid and McCoy, who do look really good, and they're bigger and they're more fluid. Like their resumes don't match Pons, 2-time All-American.
I don't know if they're more fluid either. I don't know if I'd say that.
Yeah, Pons looked so athletic and tested athletically and moved athletically in the drills. The only knock on him is his height, and that's crazy because that's been the knock on him the entire time, and he still keeps proving doubters wrong. And this idea that like he's going to go around 1, I just don't know how early. It should be higher than you think, and it'll be higher, and it should be higher than it will be probably. But he should be the first cornerback taken. Like obviously I'm crazy biased with this take, but like he's the best cornerback, one of the best corners I've ever seen, and followed closely. Like I don't know. And I watched Alteron Werner at UCLA, and he was like a 10-year vet on the Buccaneers. Well, like Pons is way better than that guy. Like that guy was a pick 6 machine too. Like Alteron Werner, like great player, like super talented, played in the league a long time, great athlete, tall, 6'1". Like Pons is better than that guy. Like he just was coming out. Like he just is. And the only knock is height. And I think that's crazy. I think that guy you draft him round 1, he's on your starting. You figure out a way to put him on the field on your defense. You find a way because he's a dog and can play at the highest level. And he's a 12-year vet. Like there's no doubt in my mind. Like this guy's going to be playing for a long, long time. He's got that dog in him. He's got that chip on his shoulder. It's never going to leave him. Especially when he's like the 3rd cornerback taken. Like he's going to take that to heart.
Nothing free. Nothing free. We got some funny stories from him too. There was the recruiting story where he said, shout out to Angelo, that Angelo was like, it'll be cool to make a bowl game, and Signetti sat them back down. I was like, no, like here's what's really gonna happen type of deal, which is funny to hear from D'Lo at the podium. And then also he was shouting out some guys, like how the room is in good hands, and obviously he shouted out Jamar Sharp and AJ Harris, and but one of the guys that he did point out that we've been really high on is Jalen Hollywood-Bell. And
that's awesome.
Yeah. On the podium at the NFL Combine, went out of his way to mention Jalen Hollywood-Bell as somebody who's one to look out for 2026.
You remember when we were at the CLA game and Bell was on the field? You remember what I told you about watching Bell? Just looking at him and live in person.
He's just one of those dudes who like him and Byron Baldwin Jr. are like cut from the same cloth of like competitor.
Yes, which these guys all have the same intangibles. Like I'm not worried about that stuff. I looked at Jalen Hollywood-Bell, and I think I turned to you and I said, he's ready now, physically. He's ready to go. The tough part is that he's got 3 seniors ahead of him going into this year. He's going to be quarterback 4, but, like, he's a guy that we might not have to use a portal slot on him because he's ready to go. And what would be his 3rd year as the starter. So, can't wait to see him make an impact on special teams, just find ways to be impactful. I think what's exciting about this group, now that we're talking a little about the IU rosters, that like we saw Pons block some punts. What's nice is that we can have those 3 senior corners play and then just have Hollywood-Bell come in and block a punt. Like that's how I'm picturing. That's how much dog and talent and depth we have on this team, where it's like it can work like that.
And then this wasn't NFL Combine related, but today it came out that Kalen Black and the Jets there's some interest there, and so I don't know if he's meeting with them or what's going on there, but he might be working out for the Jets, which I thought was pretty cool. And then obviously
that's Kalen Black, right?
Yeah.
So there's 3 guys that didn't go to the combine that I gave grades to in terms of I think they're going to get drafted. Stephen Daly, I gave from John Handley, Winchester, Virginia. I gave him around 3 grade. All-American, all Big Ten, led the conference in tackles for loss. Is coming off injuries. That's one where he can literally fall to round 6. But production on the field, the 40 time that I know he can run pre-injury, he would have gone to that combine, ran 4.6 and blown people's minds. Like, I'm dead ass. I was watching how some of these guys move, and I'm just like, Daly humps. Like, track star. He's a track star. Like, he wasn't just a track guy. He was a track star. He wasn't some D lineman doing shot put. He was on the 4x1 team and winning state. He was setting state records at 250 pounds. He's a freak. Round 3, I think even with the injury, I think it's going to stay up on tape. I think he's going to kill interviews. I think when scouts come around the campus and ask people about Stephen Daly, be like, what was this guy like before he got hurt? Like, yeah, probably like one of our best athletes that's not named D'Angelo Pons. Like, probably like he's going to get the hype. He's going to get some endorsements, and that's crazy. Like, we might go 2 for 2 Kent State transfer into the draft, considering Kent State's probably won like 3 games the past like 2 years. It's crazy. Another guy, Mikhail Kamara, wasn't able to make it. We suspect probably a shoulder thing. Another All-American, All-Big Ten guy, 2-time All-Big Ten, 1-time All-American in 2024. I gave him around 4 grade. It's just hard for me that you watch Mikhail Kamara's tape. He has led the Big Ten in pressures back-to-back years. It's just hard for me to just be like, he just can't fall further than 4th round, right? Like, you can't. I think it'd be crazy. I'm literally giving these scouts the playbook on where they should be looking to target these guys. Like, that's where you should go get them. Get them in round 4. And then Kalon Black, I gave him around 7th grade out of Salem High School in Virginia Beach, Virginia. The only guy I have projected to get drafted that has an All Big Ten accolade, by the way. So there's 11 All Big Ten, All American guys that Indiana's pumping out right now. And obviously we didn't talk about Fernando, but that's 11 guys that were all conference. They're all going to get drafted. And then there's Kalon Black, make it 12. The guys I left off, Kellen Wyatt, it's going to be hard to get over. Not enough tape. I know he's crazy athletic. It's just a tough timing for his injury. True senior. Like, I think he's going to make us 90 man. It's going to be tough for him. It's such bad timing with the injury and everything. And I think I think there's got to be a department out there in the NFL that's going to believe in him and kind of see the tape and just realize kind of what kind of a player he is and what he can be in a 3-4 outside linebacker setting as a pass rusher. I think he brings a lot to that type of scheme. And then there's EJ and Johnny Brady. I think EJ is super long, a blue chip guy, will make a 90 man. Johnny Brady, I think, brings a return element that I think people will find fascinating. He's about the same level as like compare Price and Johnny Brady in the punt return game this past year. Like, pretty equal. Maybe I'd give the edge to Miles Price because I've known he played in the NFL, right? But Johnny Brady's got blazing speed, never dropped the ball, great awareness, made plays in receiving game when needed, when called upon. That's a guy that can make a 90 man as well. So like 16 guys making 90 mans potentially is a crazy number.
You didn't mention Boykin either.
Oh yeah, I gave Boykin a 7th round grade. 1-time All Big Ten. I left him out. I forgot about him. Out of Ragsdale High School in Greensboro, North Carolina. Stand up. There we go. I gave him a 7th round grade. Just him being, a sixth year guy. It's just going to be, tough sledding. He's going to have that working against him without being like an All-American level player like Lou Moore, but his tape is going to get him drafted. There's just someone's going to be like, oh, we found the gem, and it's this unheralded DB on the 4th DB on this Indiana team that's in the draft process this year. Pretty crazy stuff. But yeah, excited for him.
And then obviously, Brad, I'm not going to ask you for a draft grade on Fernando Mendoza because he's going to be the number 1 overall pick. And he didn't really do much this week. Obviously, he interviewed with teams, and there were some like really weird clips about reporters asking him to like what he thinks about the Jets, and there was the really funny headline that came out that one team asked him to get arrested so that he would slide in the draft. What was your takeaway from Fernando's week, just as a combine observer?
I think it was really cool to see him kind of around the team. He was being really good buds with Jacoby Lane, which I thought was really funny because I'm a big Jacoby Lane guy. So I thought it was funny that of all the receivers, he really got buddy with Jacoby Lane. Like they're fucking around with each other a lot on the sideline. They became good buddies. I'm not even capping. You can just tell. And maybe Jacoby Lane's doing his own side interview, like "Come get me," Las Vegas, type shit. Which would be talk about back shoulders. Jacoby Lane would be really fun to throw back shoulders to. Anyways, I think it was cool that he wasn't visiting, he wasn't throwing or doing any of the drills or running, but he was just around the guys, showing up, being a good teammate, clapping around, hyping up Diego Pavia doing a backflip. Like he was just being Fernando. Like it wasn't a show. Like that's just how he is. He's fucking around with the boys and having a good time. He's